everybody, Dave Weiss here for the Glue Bomb Show. Today I'm going to do something a little different. Today I'm going to build this one on video. This is the Atlantis Tom Daniel rip-off Duster funny car, and it's a 1/32 scale kit. It's snap fit. So what I've done is I've pre-painted and pre-prepared everything, and I'm going to attempt to use my new document camera to show you how it builds. So hopefully this is going to work well. And if it doesn't, you won't see this because I'll re-record and do something else. So here we go. So I've decided to build this using my new overhead camera. Hello. And basically what I've done so far is I've pre-painted all the parts. And again, they really don't need to be painted necessarily. It comes on a silver gray sprue, a black sprue, and then, of course, we have the frame, which is a separate piece, and we have the body. Now, if you remember, the body was originally green. I shot a couple coats of orange on it, and then I went through and also painted the interior black, because I think that gives it a nicer look. And I did some trim painting around the windows, and, of course, put the decals on, put a nice coat of clear over top of that. And so we're ready to start putting this thing together. Now, I did already the differential. I put the differential cover on the axle, snapped the axle into place. I was really, for some reason, messing around with that, so I decided to just stop and put it in and then start the video over again. So the only tools you really need for this are your probably a sprue cutter or else an X-Acto knife. And I do have my tube of glue here. This is a snap fit kit. You don't necessarily need that, but every once in a while maybe you'll have a part that doesn't quite want to cooperate, and so we'll do, we might need to put a little bit of glue to it. So it has us next assembling our rear wheels. Now the rear wheels are a two-piece construction. There's an inner wheel and an outer wheel. I did some detail painting on these, painted the Goodyear logos on them. And so we're going to assemble one at a time. And basically all you're going to do is you're going to nip off this back wheel. Again, this is a simpler kit, but they are a lot of fun. I've had a good time with these so far. So basically what it instructs you to do is to take your inner wheel, and you know how you look at things and you realize you did something wrong? Well, that's what happened here. I didn't letter one of these wheels. I lettered the wrong side of it. So first of all, it says we're going to put the inner wheel into the wheel into the front part of the tire. Oops. A little bit of a flash in there. Oh, that's right. It actually mounts inside the wheel. You're looking for a little notch in there. You put that in the notch, and you place this part, the outer wheel, over the back. Put it into place over that wheel, and snap it together. It's got two pins, one on either end. You line those pins up, snap it into place, and you have a wheel that's not cooperating. It's funny. These things went together so well when I wasn't on camera, and now that I am on camera, of course, it's giving me a bit of difficulty. There we go. One wheel put in place. Now with these wheels, I actually took these and I coated them with a coat of flat black to kind of give them a little bit more of a rubber look, because these are not rubber tires, they are cast in plastic, and that's okay. I'm going to have to go over this and touch it up a little bit later. I'm putting the lettering on the other side. I thought I did that, but I lettered both sides of the same wheel instead. These things are the things that happen when you're trying to do something on video, or at least that's my experience. Again, there's two little holes in the in the front part of the tire, and there's a notch in the wheel, so you make sure you line that notch up with a little pin that's in there, and then you line these pins up with the holes in the other piece, because again, this is snap fit, snap together, and there you go. 2 complete wheels. All right, so then they want you to put the wheels onto the axle, and we'll do that right now. Snap them till they snap in place. Oops. Tire wheel popped apart a little bit. And I think they're now both in place. And for some reason, this tire doesn't want to stay together. So let's do this one more time. I'm going to do the same thing here. It's going to be a little more difficult now. We're going to line up the pin with the notch in the wheel. Line up the holes. And snap it together. And there we go. The wheel is now assembled. We have the back wheels on the car already. Now, step 6. There's a little brace right here. This brace is part of what supports the body when the body is in the down position. So we're going to take that. We're going to snap it into the frame right at the fuel tanks. So it goes in there. There's 2 little notches that they slide into, and that piece is attached. It would be helpful if I would remember to keep the assembly under the camera. Okay. We're going to do something similar with the front wheels as we did with the back wheels. Again, the front axle is already attached. So all we need to do is it says we're going to take both sides of the wheel. We're going to, the tire. We're going to grab a wheel. I find these sprue nippers make really nice work out of this. We're going to line this up. Oh, okay, I see. In this one, we assemble the tire first. There's a pin on the inside of the tire, and there's a hole. You find the pin, you find the hole, you line them up like so, and then you push this wheel through the tire, you have a tire. Wheel and tire combo, I should say. We'll do the same thing quickly with the other wheel. Okay. Again, we look for that pin and the hole. There's the hole. There's the pin. Line those up. Okay. And we also have to make sure we've nipped out the wheel. Again, this video is kind of experimental today, where I'm trying to see if this works. So I'd be really interested in your feedback as to whether or not this is boring or whether or not it helps you to see a little bit more about the kit. Again, I chose a fairly simple kit to assemble to try this for the first time because I wanted to make sure that I could do everything in one place. Part of the reason I'm doing this is because I've got several kits use a little cleanup there. Could use several. I have several kits that are larger kits that, needless to say, are not going to get assembled in a week. And so I want to make sure that, you know, perhaps I can do some assembly videos where we look at just individual parts of the assembly. Okay, now we're going to press these onto the axle, and for some reason I've pushed my tire apart again. And again, if you run into a problem with this, a little bit of glue would go a long way. And with that, we have the rolling chassis essentially done. I'm going to take a little extra thing to that, I believe. All right, now, the next step, it says, is to assemble the engine. Now we have an engine here that is actually molded with a fair amount of detail to it. Engine and transmission. I painted the engine a semi-gloss black, and then did the transmission and the oil pan in silver to make it look, actually it's more of aluminum than silver, but you get the idea. All right, so then we have, there's our engine block and transmission assembly. And then we're going to go in here with the next step, which is to put the engine mount on, which is this piece here. It's a combination of the place where you mount the pulleys and such, the belts, I should say, as well as it's also how you put the engine into the car. All right, so now once that's done, we're going to put the belt into place. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a step over on the other side here. Before we put those things on, we were really supposed to put the blower mount, the blower top plate, and let's see if I can get that done without removing anything. I'm going to put it says we're going to press the engine together, put the top plate on the engine, and that goes on like this. Pops on over that long prong that's sticking out. And that just mounts right in there. And then we're going to take the actual blower, trim that out. Again, after the assembly is over, I will, after this video is done, I probably will put together a few, work on a few extra, and just a couple finishing touches just to clean it up a little bit, touch up a little bit of the paint here and there, and a few things like that. Next, it wants us to mount the blower belt, which is right here. And that will go onto here. There's 3 holes, 3 pins. There's one in the... Okay, I'm not doing something right here. There we go. I'm going to push that in place. And then the belts go on like so. There's 3 pins. For some reason, this front plate is not quite going on the way it should. There's a pin there. There we go. There's a pin, but there's also a pin on the back of the belt that goes onto the and goes onto the engine block, so we need to make sure that both of those things are firmly in place. Again, this is a snap fit kit, and I have to be honest, the fit is really good on this for the most part. I'm running into a few things, probably because I'm rushing a little bit to try and get this done on the video. There we go. All right. Now, let us put the blower scoop together. Again, I did all the detail painting in advance with this because there is no gluing, so it's just a matter of sticking everything together. So here we have the blower scoop, and we're just going to push that together. The pins come through, everything lines up pretty nicely, and then we're going to push that onto the blower. Not sure why that wants to pop out of there, but that's okay. All right. Put a little pop of glue on there. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we're going to turn this whole thing upside down. And there are two holes here in the frame where the the engine mounts line up. And this frame is fairly flexible, so you can just sort of flex things around. And I just broke the blower scoop off of it, which is no big deal. I'll just put it back on after we have it lined up. And make sure that those pins are in place. And once the pins are both in place in the frame, then we will also make sure that the drive shaft lines up with that differential and goes right into place there. Now we just need to secure the blower scoop back on again. That was just something that I did. Little mistake I made. I was not quite lined up. And there we have our engine mounted. I put a little dot of glue in there and to make sure that stays. Just using a little bit of our old friend Tester's red tube glue. Okay. You know how when you're working on something and it goes together like a dream, and then you try to film it and it doesn't go together like a dream? That's sort of what's happening right now. But all in all, you get the idea. I'm probably trying to work too fast because I don't want this to be an hour-long video. Okay, that's mounted. That's in place. Here we have our motor and drivetrain lined up, ready to go. All right, now let's get those headers in place. The headers are actually attached to the to part of the engine here, so we're just going to nip those out one at a time. The designers have made this that these will just pop into place, but the trick is you need to run the pipe itself through the engine, through the frame, excuse me, and bring it down onto where it mounts onto the engine, and then you press it into place. There's a little okay. You know what? The blower came off, and that's frustrating. But honestly, it's easier to see how to hook these in without the blower. So hopefully I'll be able to get the blower back in after I have these in. That's the question. All right. I'm going to line these in and give it a little press. There we go. And then we're going to go back up here with the blower. And hopefully that will all just slide right into place. You know, it would if the blower was facing in the right direction, which it was not. Now it is. Let us slide this back into place where it belongs. Belt in the right way, and there we have it. Everything is in place. We're going to pop that scoop back on there. And with that, most of our drivetrain is complete. The engine is in, everything is assembled, the wheels and tires are on, we've got our headers in place. We're now ready to mount that steering wheel. Steering wheel goes in two places. First of all, there's a little notch here that the one end goes into, and after you get it in there, you slip it in between that little notch right there, and your steering wheel is mounted and ready to go. Okay. Then we have our frame. The rest of our roll cage frame will go in here like so. We just nip those two parts off. They will mount into these two holes. There's a hole on each side of the frame right there. You can see it. You simply notch each hole into there, and then you snap the back end into the place in the back of the seat. And we have just about completed the undercarriage now. What we have yet to put on are two very important parts, though. The first one is this hinge for the body. And we're just going to simply slide that right into the, slip that right into there, into the back of the frame. And so there's a little piece there that's might give us trouble when we go to put the body on. And then lastly, for this, we have the prop for the body. That will simply lay across the body like that. From there, we will, let's get rid of the instructions now so that you can see this go together a little bit better now that we have the parts in place. So you see, it's a really nice little body and engine drivetrain chassis, whatever you would like to call it. We're going to next find the glass. Glass is right here. It's got a small little sprue that you need to just nip off of there. Where did that sprue go? Right into the car. Okay. As usual, right into the car. Now we're going to push this. All you do with this is you press it into place. It's got 3 points. You just stick them in. It fits in there really nicely. Our glass is now installed. And we have a few parts to go onto the body. We have these two little spoilers, I guess you would call them. And they go in, one on either side of the body, and snap into place. Sort of important that they go in pretty flush. All right. So there's a drag chute. No self-respecting funny car is going down the strip without a drag chute. So we will put that in place. Press it in place like that. And then we take the pins from the body and we very carefully work them into place. The hinge pins. And there's two fairly large holes in the side of the body where those go. And we work them in gently so as not to break anything or snap anything off. And there we go. Something is not quite right. There we go. Oh, I know, it was stuck on a wheelie bar. And there you have it. Now, as usual, when you're trying to do something on camera, it doesn't go quite as well as it did when you're putting it together off camera. However, you can see that it went together fairly well. I'll give you a little bit of an overview in just a second. And here you have it. The Duster Funny Car ripoff. This is not the kit was not a ripoff, but that's the name of the kit. 1/32 scale by Atlantis and Tom Daniel. Kelly Daniel as well. And guys, look at this thing. It came out really nicely. Now, I apologize. The build video didn't go quite as well as I had hoped. And I sort of expected that might be the case. I've never worked with this camera before. I've never worked with trying to do a build on camera before. And so I'm sure there were some hiccups. I can't say there were fit issues. I think the issues were with me trying to go fast to try and get this video in under half an hour, which I didn't quite make. And so I'm going to just tell you now, I had a good time with this kit. This kit went together nicely. It works well. And the issues I was having were issues that you have when you try to rush. And by the way, when you're building models, you shouldn't rush because model building is supposed to be fun. And I did have fun with this. Here I popped up the body now so you can see it with the body popped up. These things look great. They really do. They go together nicely. They look good on the shelf. And I had a good time with it.
I think you will too. Now, the last thing I have for you is I'm going to unbox the last 2 kits in this series, the Fiend and the Mustang, and I'm just looking forward to building those as well. Actually, I already have one of them in paint as you're watching this, so I will probably review those 2 together when they're finished. So that's all I have for tonight with the rip-off. Stay tuned for the unboxing of the other 2 kits. Take care. Now, before we close out this video, I want to give you a little unboxing of sorts of the other 2 kits in this series, the Fiend and Fake Out, the Charger and the Mach 1 Mustang. So, basically, these kits, besides the bodies, are the same. And that's pretty normal because if you look at most of your funny car kits, the chassis and everything are pretty similar. This is going to be a great looking collection on my shelf, but I just thought I'd share with you the other 2 kits just so you can kind of get an idea. All right, here's Fiend. Fiend is the Charger. Now, once again, this car is cast in a different color than it is on the box. This was actually going to be my next build, but I went to my local Hobby Lobby to pick up a rattle can to paint it, and I discovered that there was only 1 slot on the whole rattle can shelf that was empty. Guess which one it was? It was the fluorescent bright green that I want to use on this one. So anyway, here's the Charger body. You can see a very nice looking kit, nice looking body, very nicely molded, very clean, no flash. And like I say, I'm just going to prime it quick and paint it that green, because if you look at these graphics, I mean, you could use these graphics on the blue car. You could. And it would probably look just great. But I have to be honest with you, this is one of my favorite colors for cars. I just love this color. One day, I will own a car this color, as long as our friends at Dodge keep making them. At this point, I don't know if you know this, but I drive minivans. And the reason I drive minivans is because I haul a lot of stuff. So, anyway, here is your decal sheet. Very nice. Once again, I love the organization of this, how they separate it into right, left, and center. And you can see here that there's, they have a grill decal and the top and side decal, the top and hood decals, and then, of course, the ones that go down the side on either side of this. And then we also have, here's the thing for subscribing to Model Cars magazine, which I would like to do, to be honest with you. And then once again, we have the gray parts, or silver parts, tree or gray, whichever you prefer. I made them all silver. I painted them all silver. And, of course, I left my scissors in my model room, so I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Again, there's a one-piece glass, just pretty normal. And then you have your black parts tree. Here are your tires. Rear tires, front tires, engine halves, differential cover. This is the piece below the blower. I'm sure there's a name for that, but I don't know what it is. The blower belt, the parachute, rear axle. This is the frame, the top of the frame. And then, of course, we have our headers. Okay. And then we have our wheels, the bar that props the body up. This is a brace for the body. And we have the blower scoop, we have these 2 spoiler kind of things that are on the sides of these cars. Oh, excuse me. This is the axle for the body. This is where you connect the body to flip the body up and down. That would be the word I'm looking for. Of course, the front of the engine and your valve covers. In all of the ones that I've built so far, I have painted this silver and some of this silver. We're going to do this one a little bit differently in that I'm going to paint the chassis, which is also in here. I'm going to paint this one green. I just think it'll look cool with the green chassis, and so that's what I'm going to do. Other than that, I'm sticking with the cover art. That's part of the reason I do that like this is even though these were not real cars, this is not something that ran on a racetrack at one point or another. But I do like to follow the box art. I think the artist, especially Tom Daniel, his son Kelly, they're doing great stuff, and I just want to kind of emulate them by doing them like the box art. So that's the another big reason why I'm painting this green. And again, I'm not bothered by the fact that it's molded in blue. This would be a fine looking blue car, and most people wouldn't know the difference when it's on your shelf. But I want it to be green because the box art's green. And that's just my preference. So that's the Fiend. And then we have Fake Out. Now again, the body parts, the parts besides the body are identical. So we're just going to look at the body real quick here. Again, Mach 1 Mustang, classic funny car body. There were quite a few of these back in the day, and really nicely sculpted, molded. However they do that, I don't know, but boy, it's just a good looking little piece here. The grill is actually pretty well molded. So, we do this. On the Duster, I did a little bit of, I painted the whole thing silver and then did a black wash on it, and that made the details pop. This one I'll probably do roughly the same thing. And then there is your glass piece. Of course, it's long and slender because you've got that fastback on the Mach 1. And then the other thing that's different, of course, is the decal sheet. Very red, white, and blue patriotic. This one will be blue. That's what the box art is. The model body here is also blue. Probably could get away without painting it once again. Throw the decals on, put a clear coat on it. But I've got the color that I want to put on it, so I'm going to paint it blue. Beautiful kit. They're both going to be really cool. I know this is a longer video, but I wanted to do an experiment to see how the build video works. I would really appreciate if you guys would comment on whether or not you like the build video, because I'm thinking about doing a few more of those. One of the things that I have coming up is I have a lot of really involved kits where the idea of building the whole thing and then giving you a video is going to take weeks to build. So because I have limited build time, like probably most of you. And so what I want to do is I want to try and do this where we build some sub-assemblies and look at some of the details on putting those sub-assemblies together for some of these bigger kits. I've got at least 2 big funny cars that are sitting up there right now, 1/16 scale, that I would love to get to. I've also got some more creatures, some more freaky stuff, and I'm looking forward to some more stuff coming down the pipe. Again, our friends in Atlantis have done a great job with these kits, and I'm just looking forward to showing you the remaining ones in this series and all the other stuff they bring out, and the other folks as well. Because let's remember, folks, model building's supposed to be fun. I'm having a ball. Hope you are too. If you like these videos, please subscribe. Please share them and spread the word. Remember, model building's supposed to be fun. Hope you're having fun, because I'm having fun. God bless. Take care.